Rocket was doing what a lot of companies do for a long time, is trying to figure out how to manage their content. A lot of people I've noticed have worked in like Excel sheets or like Word documents, Lucid charts, Figma, tools that aren't really necessarily geared towards conversational design and creating like conversation trees and flows. You can create flows and things like that inside of Figma, but if you don't really know what you're doing with Figma or XD or any of those like kind of design tools, you can kind of fake conversation prototyping, but you're not going to be able to like really get into it. Like for a long time, Figma didn't have the ability to like enter text. And that's like a key component of like conversation design, is to be able to ask a question and get a response back. And so we were looking around for a long time for tools that would allow us to visually design conversations. We were mainly working out of like Word documents and like Excel documents, and our workflow was a lot of just back and forth, and it was messy. We had a lot of input from business partners, and we weren't really able to track like changes very well through those types of things. And so having Voiceflow available to us allowed us a greater sense of freedom when it came to scalability and allowing people that don't have a technical background to design conversations. A lot of what I was doing kind of before we had products like Voiceflow was I was working inside of our NLU engine to design, which is not a great way of designing to begin with. It's very technical, and the user interfaces aren't that great. And so we weren't able to have people that weren't familiar with like IBM Watson. We weren't able to have them do design work. But having some sort of tool like Voiceflow or a GUI allowed them just to jump right in. It basically sped up our workflow more than anything, and it made it more accessible to everyone. We are currently in the process of trying to figure out how we scale our chatbot and to be able to make it so that non-technical users can manage their content. And so that's Voiceflow is going to be in our future as a key to how we scale and to how we make everything that we do accessible to designers and non-designers alike at Rocket Launch. Voiceflow really was that one tool that allowed us to visually prototype everything. It allowed text entry, allowed us to create entities in intents. It allowed us to have conversational data in it. Like we were able to, in the first week or two of me playing around with Voiceflow, I was able to completely reproduce our chatbot inside of Voiceflow, not with full-on intent and NLU understanding, but like we had a pretty close one-to-one with like what our chatbot was. And so like we were able to use it as a content management system almost from the beginning. Number one is the visual UI of just being able to design in a tool where you can see conversation trees and paths, but also be able to like take a prototype that you made and send it to a business partner and say, hey, you asked for this piece of content, like this is how it's going to look. Like, what do you think? And it's accessible to non-technical people, so we can give people access to Voiceflow, and they can go in and leave notes, and they can play around. And it's simple enough interface for anyone just to almost pick up and kind of understand how the pieces fit and work together. I think that's what was really important here with making Voiceflow our partner for conversation design at Rocket.